Hey guys, it's Bridget with San Diego Seed Company. And if you follow my videos or watch me online, you know that one of my favorite flowers is sweet peas. I love the intense smell that they put off. I mean, the fragrance is incredible. It can fill the whole house with a beautiful, amazing floral scent. And they're really easy to grow here in zone 9 and 10, as long as you know a few pro tips. And we're gonna share those with you today, but before we do that, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you're notified anytime we put a video out. So let's jump into it. First thing I wanna talk about is the difference between sweet peas, the flowers, and sweet peas, the edible pods. It's very confusing because they're called the same thing, but they are a totally different crop in the sense of sweet peas, the edible pods, like our mammoth melting, sugar daddy, sugar pea, any of those are plants that will grow to produce an edible pod that you will consume. Sweet peas, the flowers, on the other hand, do not. They actually grow just the same. They need to grow on a trellis, and they produce beautiful, amazing flowers that are very similar to the flowers of sweet pea edible pods, but they're not going to produce an edible pod, and you actually don't want to eat the flowers. I do not recommend that. They're not edible. And you grow them for cut flowers. They produce a really intense fragrance that is amazing. And depending on the variety, the fragrance can be different. And that's why you grow them. They'll fill your whole house with a beautiful, herbal, kind of fruity smell that is just, it's incredible. So how do you grow them? Well, just like sweet peas, the edible pods, you want to plant them in the fall. And I will say that is the number one thing that I see people do incorrectly. They wait until the spring to plant their sweet pea seeds, and then the plants don't get very big, and as soon as it gets hot and the summer rolls around, they putter out. Instead of doing that, you want to plant them in the fall. They'll grow very slowly. As you can see, these guys were planted around October, and they're not very big at all, and that's because the days are short and the sun is very low in the horizon. But what they are doing that we can't see is that they are growing really massive, healthy root systems. As soon as the days get longer and the days warm up, sun gets higher in the horizons, they are just going to take over this whole trellis here. It's really incredible. And they are going to bloom profusely. You will be able to smell these flowers all the way from the street, I guarantee. That's how amazing the fragrance is. So you want to start them in the fall. And sweet pea seeds can be a little difficult to start because they're very hard. So you want to make sure that you soak them in water for a few hours before you plant them, because that will actually help to soften the seed coat and allow the seed to break and germinate. I do know that a lot of people will mention that you can nick the seeds, which is totally possible. We don't nick the seeds because you can end up damaging them, and we do sweet pea seed production, so the seeds that you buy in our packets are actually seed that we produce on our farm, and so I can't economically figure out a way to nick 1,000 seeds. So we successfully germinate them very easily just by soaking them. I don't recommend soaking them overnight because that can actually drown the seeds. It's too long for seeds to be in water without oxygen. Just a few hours as you're prepping your garden bed and drinking your coffee in the morning, that is enough time to soak the sweet peas before you plant them in the ground. Now, keeping in mind that they take a long time to germinate, you also want to make sure that the ground stays moist the whole time that they're germinating. So you can see here, he's got irrigation heads next to the plants, and that's going to guarantee that they stay moist. And these irrigation heads are what allowed these seeds to germinate. You can hand water, but you got to do it often, and you have to be very disciplined to do it enough to guarantee that they germinate. So if your seeds haven't germinated if it's been 2 weeks and you haven't seen any germinating in your garden bed where you planted the seeds, don't fret. It can take up to 3 weeks for them to germinate, especially if the soil is really cold. If after 3 weeks they haven't germinated, then something went amiss, and you'll want to replant. But again, sweet pea flowers, as long as you know when to plant them and you can get them to germinate, they're pretty much set it and forget it. They're going to take over this whole trellis. They're going to give you more blooms than you possibly can ever enjoy. You're going to have to share them with neighbors and friends, and that's a good problem to have. So what kind of maintenance do these plants need? Well, once they fill up the trellis, you don't have to do a lot of pruning at all. In fact, on our farm, when we're doing seed production, we do 0 pruning. The only thing that we do is we go through and we harvest tons of blooms because I mean, we can't help ourselves. It's so gorgeous. The blooms will actually happen on the plant, and you will see a side stem, which is where florists go to cut the flower. Sorry, that was my phone just fell out of my pocket. That is where florists like to cut the flower so you have a nice long stem to stick in a vase. Other than that, they require very little care as long as they're receiving ample moisture. If you mulch around your plants, you'll notice that they'll be happier because it's holding in the moisture. Let them fill up the whole trellis and then enjoy the blooms all spring and summer long.